discuss regarding phloem. Okay, so regarding phloem, as I have told you already, this is also a major conducting tissue present in the plant body which will be carrying food formed by photosynthesis throughout the plant body. Okay, mostly photosynthesis will be occurring in the leaves, right? And hence food produced in the leaf will be transported via phloem throughout the plant body towards downwards, right? But then sometimes you see during winter, as you can see, the plant would shade its leaves, isn't it? That time photosynthesis is not occurring, but that doesn't mean that due to the lack of food the plant dies, right? Rather, the plant might have already stored food in its root, which now will be consumed throughout the period, throughout this unfavorable period. So at that time the phloem will be carrying food which is stored in the root towards upwards, right? So that means phloem, according to the condition or situation that arises, it will carry the food from leaf towards root, and also when situation arises it might also carry the food from root towards leaf as well. That's why phloem transport is bidirectional in nature. This is a very important difference between the transport via xylem and phloem. Xylem's transport is always unidirectional, whereas for phloem it's always bidirectional. Fine. Now, for phloem, we can again have two types of phloem, that is based on origin. The meaning is exactly the same that we have discussed under xylem, so it would not cause any difficulty for you to understand. Primary phloem and of course secondary phloem. So primary phloem will arise in the early or initial phase of development, that means when the plant is young or during primary growth phase. And as usual then, secondary phloem will be arising when the plant has matured or in the secondary growth phase, right? So now, just like xylem, phloem can also, primary phloem can also be of two types, protophlloem and metaphlloem. Protophlloem means first formed primary phloem, whereas metaphlloem means later formed primary phloem. So meaning is again exactly the same. Just that in case of xylem, you have seen endark and exarch arrangement of proto and meta xylem, isn't it? Any as such arrangement would not be applicable to phloem. Okay, so endark and exarch arrangement is only and strictly based with xylem. It is not going to do, it has nothing to do with phloem. Understood? Now next, for secondary phloem, as I have already told you, it arises during secondary growth phase and it is formed by vascular cambial ring, that is the lateral meristem. And finally, the main discussion that we have is about the phloem elements. So just like xylem, phloem is also a complex permanent tissue and hence it is made up of more than one type of cell. And again, just like xylem, phloem is also made up of 4 types of cells which are called phloem elements. Okay, these phloem elements are sieve tube, companion cell, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. This is a diagram of how the phloem as a tissue will look like with all the 4 cells together. So this being the chief conducting element in the phloem, as you can see, this is called the sieve tube. Likewise, this spindle shaped cell that you can see just adjacent to the sieve tube, this one is the companion cell. Adjacent to that was phloem fibers, and then these smaller cells, the parenchyma cells, these are the phloem parenchyma. Okay, together the phloem as a tissue would appear like this. Okay, so let us see all the phloem elements in details. Now let us discuss phloem elements. Just like xylem, phloem is also made up of 4 types of cells and they are called phloem elements. And as you know, they are sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fibers and phloem parenchyma. So let us first start with sieve tube. Okay, so see, sieve tube is a long tube-like structure which has a wider lumen. This is the lumen which is quite wide, and then the end walls are oblique and possess minute pores. So these end plates of the sieve tubes are called sieve plates. Okay. To your surprise, this middle lumen, it's not empty for conduction, rather it possesses thin peripheral cytoplasm. Okay. So cytoplasm being present, we have to call the sieve tube to be a living cell. okay, because living matter is present, so it is a living cell, okay. But again, nucleus, which is also a very, very important part of the cell, that is absent. This is very unique a feature, okay. So it is a living cell with the living matter cytoplasm, but it lacks a nucleus, okay. Now see, the sieve tubes will remain arranged end to end in rows to form long channels. So this is just like it is going to be like tracheids or vessels. They are going to join with one another, and that's how they are going to make longer channels. Again, sieve tubes, just like the vessels, are not a single cell, rather they are made up of cellular fusion. And those cells which makes up or which fuse together to form sieve tubes, they are called sieve tube members or sieve tube elements, okay. So same like vessels, fine. So see, thin cellulosic cell wall with thin cytoplasm and large central vacuole, nucleus is absent, which I have already marked. End plates have pores called the sieve plates, alright. Sieve tube elements remains associated with companion cells which are ontogenetically related and hence called sister cells. This is a very, very, very important point. So see, always adjacent to a sieve tube would remain another cell present. Always it has to be present compulsorily, and that is a spindle shaped cell, that's the companion cell, okay. Companion cell, see, it shares between companion cell and sieve tube, there is a common wall present, isn't it? This common wall present. This common wall also have certain parts or places where the cell wall material is almost absent, forming pores, which I think if you remember we call the such zones where cell wall material is not deposited, forming pores, to be pits. Isn't it? You have learned about it in sclerins, right? So these are pits, right? So through pits, the cytoplasm of the companion cell and the sieve tube will remain interconnected. Okay? And that's how exchange of materials between sieve tube and companion cells will remain between the two cells. Always they will be in communication, and because the sieve tube is the main conducting element in phloem, it will be carrying the food within itself and will be carrying it to different directions. Okay, so something, because sieve tube can be transporting materials in any direction, so there has to be something that should control the direction of movement within the sieve tube, right? And that something cannot be alone done by the sieve tube. Why? Because sieve tube do not have nucleus also. Nucleus being the controlling agent of the cell, nucleus should have directed the movement inside sieve tube, which is absent here. So that's why the sieve tube will always remain associated with the companion cell, and the companion cell's nucleus will be controlling the activity inside the sieve tube, whether the movement of food should be happening from leaf to the roots or from root towards leaf. This decision is taken by the companion cell nucleus. That's why sieve tube always has to remain with the companion cell. Without companion cell, it cannot function. Understood? And also, it has been seen that both these cells, they will develop from the very beginning, they will be developing together. Okay? So, a particular organism growing or a particular organism developing from zygote to a whole organism, it has to go through many phases, isn't it? So the study of this developmental history is called ontogeny, fine? And as these two cells, they are ontogenetically related, means they will be developing since the very beginning, they will be developing together. So that's why these two cells are also called sister cells. I hope all of you are clear about it. Okay, I have told you here two important things. One is that sieve tube is the main conducting element of the phloem. It will carry the food finally from either leaf to root or root to leaf. Alright, that is only done by the sieve tube. And because the sieve tube can carry the materials in any direction, someone has to decide in which direction the food should move, isn't it? But for taking that decision, the cell do not have nucleus. So it is, the sieve tube will always remain associated with companion cells, and the companion cell's nucleus will control the activity inside sieve tube. How or why? Because companion cell and sieve tube will remain interconnected via pits. That is the first point. Second point is that there is a branch of science or a particular study that's called ontogeny, where we study the developmental history of organisms. And as per ontogeny, we see that sieve tube and companion cells, they both would be developing together. So they are ontogenetically related. Hence we call them to be sister cells. Both the things are important and they have to be remembered by you. I think all of you are clear about it, right? Now, protofloem, because I have told you about the two different types of primary phloem, proto and meta, isn't it? Protofloem has narrow sieve tubes, whereas metafloem has wider ones. That's just like in case of xylem also. You have come to know that protoxylem is narrower, whereas metaxylem is wider, right? The same thing is applicable. Last is pteridophytes and gymnosperms do not possess sieve tubes. So that means sieve tubes are also very advanced, you can say phloem elements. They are only present in angiosperms. They are not present in pteridophytes and gymnosperms. Rather, instead, they possess sieve cells. In gymnosperms, instead of sieve tube, a less developed structure is present, and that is sieve cells. Sieve cells are present instead of sieve tube. So sieve tube, that means, is only found in angiosperms. Do remember that. Okay. So that's it regarding sieve tube. Next, let us discuss companion cells. So I've already told you many things regarding companion cells already, but then again just try to recall the stuff. Like, these are specialized parenchymatous cells closely associated with the sieve tubes, and how they would remain associated, I hope all of you are clear about it. The common wall between the sieve tube and the companion cells possess pits by which they maintain cytoplasmic interconnection and exchange the materials. Okay, do remember this very, very important thing. They possess nucleus. Now, because companion cells possess nucleus, it is their nucleus that will control the, every kind of activity inside the sieve tube. It is only found in angiosperms. So just like sieve tubes, even companion cells are only found in angiosperms. So they are also advanced phloem elements. Alright. Pteridophytes and gymnosperms do not possess they do not possess the companion cells. Rather, gymnosperms, it is the gymnosperms that would possess albuminous cells instead. Okay. So what have you learned here? Sieve tube and companion cells, both are only found in angiosperms. Gymnosperms, they possess sieve cells instead of sieve tube, and they possess albuminous cells instead of companion cell. Understood that? Fine. Last, the transport of materials in sieve tube is controlled by the activity of companion cells. Okay. See, when phloem transport, you will learn in the transport chapter, you will get to know that in the plant body there are two parts. Okay, there are two things that we discuss, that is source and sink. Wherever in the plant body food is present, that part is called source, and wherever food is not present, or whichever part of the plant body is starving, that part is called sink. Okay, so companion cell, what it actually does is that it will maintain a high pressure at the source and it will maintain a low pressure at the sink. Okay, and by the help of this pressure gradient or pressure difference, the sieve tube will be able to sense that in which direction the substances should move, because substances always move from higher pressure to lower pressure. Okay, so this source or this pressure gradient is created or is controlled by the companion cells, and by sensing the pressure difference, the sieve tube decides its direction of movement. Alright, the mechanism or how exactly this high pressure and low pressure happens, that you will learn in transport chapter. Okay, now next, phloem fibers. So phloem fibers are nothing but sclerenchyma fibers. So sclerenchyma fibers which are associated with xylem becomes xylem fiber, associated with phloem becomes phloem fiber. That's it. So these are sclerenchymatous fibers and they are unbranched with pointed apex. Okay. Now thick lignified cell wall. Thick lignified cell wall will be obviously present. It's a sclerenchymatous cell, isn't it? And these are dead elements. So do remember, up till now in phloem elements, sieve tube is living. It has cytoplasm. Companion cell of course is living. It has cytoplasm, nucleus and everything. Phloem fibers are the only dead elements. Okay, because the next is phloem parenchyma. This is also living. So just like you have learned in xylem, out of the 4 elements, 3 are dead, 1 is living. In phloem it's opposite. Out of the 4 elements, 3 are living, only 1 is dead. Okay, so see, thick lignified cell wall, dead elements, and of course sclerenchyma after all. So it will provide mechanical support. Now for a very important point, phloem fibers of certain plants like jute, flax, hemp, etc. are of commercial importance. Commercial importance. Like in the jute plant, we use so many different substances made up of jute, isn't it? So which is the commercially important plant part of jute? Which part is actually being used for making all these textiles and substances? That is the phloem fiber. Okay, the phloem fiber of jute plant or flax or hemp, they are of commercial importance. Understood? Just like in the tea plant, the tea leaves are of commercial importance. In case of jute plant or any as such plants, it is the phloem fiber that is of commercial importance. Do remember that. Okay, and that's why, because they are basically being used for making so many different commercial items. That's why another name given to phloem fiber is bast fiber. Do remember, phloem fibers are also known as bast fibers. Okay. Next, phloem parenchyma. So this is a parenchymatous cell. So living, again, it is a living cell with thin cellulosic cell wall, dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. Okay. So because being parenchymatous, it would perform the task of storage. Wherever parenchyma is present, it will be performing storage. So the main function is of course storage. So see here, living parenchymatous cell with thin cellulosic cell wall, dense cytoplasm and prominent nucleus. They form plasmodesmatal connection. Now what is plasmodesmatal connection? See, look at this diagram. Two cells here are being interconnected by cytoplasm, isn't it? By the help of cytoplasmic strand. So in the plant body, every living cell will be joined with one another. Only the living cell I am talking about. So all the living cells in the plant body will be joined with one another via cytoplasmic interconnection. So this long continuously running cytoplasmic strand which is connecting each and every living cell in the plant body is called plasmodesmata. Okay, so this cytoplasmic interconnection can be called as a plasmodesmatal connection as well. Okay, so parenchyma, phloem parenchyma being a living cell, it will be allowing plasmodesmatal connection among the rest of the members of the phloem thropids. It is thropids that they will connect each other and form a plasmodesmatal connection. Okay, next, very important point. Phloem parenchyma is absent in monocots. So it is only present in dicots. Okay, phloem parenchyma is only and only present in dicots. It's absent in the monocots. And last is, it's of course going to allow storage, because I've already told you parenchyma means storage. Sclerenchyma means mechanical support. So these are certain things. By the time you finish the chapter, this should become very obvious to you. Okay. So this is all regarding phloem as well. So with that, complex permanent tissues being completed today, and in the next class we'll start with the tissue system. Thank you.